welcome to the Your Mac Life Show, 1057 on this Wednesday, the 29th of July, 2015. Today, Mr. Shawn King will be talking to Jim Dalrymple from theloopinsight.com, as he always does. And he'll be talking about Apple Music, and I'm guessing whether Apple Music has convinced Jim to go back to them or not.
Or not. I bet not.
Maybe not. And we'll also be talking about, this is for me, how to back up your iPhone, why you should back up your iPhone, and where to back up your iPhone to. Not beep, beep, beep. That's my iPhone backing up. Anyway, I will, on that note, move over to Mr. Shawn King. Yay!
Yay! Where's my phone? Oh,
Drink. No?
Phone. Getting ready for a conversation with Jim later on. Yeah, we're going to talk to Jim about Apple Music. And if you read the story on loopinsight.com, he got most of his music back. Some of the stuff he may have deleted on his own, which is embarrassing. It was very funny to see how many people slam Jim about not having a backup. And you're right to slam him, but after the first person does it, let it go. Everyone and their dog seemed to jump on that same. Yeah, okay, he knows. His article said that. But apparently he worked something out with Apple. We'll find out what he worked out. Interestingly enough, though, he did an interview with every podcast on the planet, apparently in the last week. But he did one with on I think Gruber's show, or his show, that was edited. And we'll find out why he edited it. That's important, inside baseball kind of way. We're also going to be talking, as Kim said, about why to back up your iPhone, how to back up your iPhone. And the reason is, Kim...
I don't have my iPhone backed up.
Kim has had two iPhones. Mm-hmm. And there was a little bit of confusion between which was the one she was using versus the one she was paying for, blah, blah, blah. And so one of the things I told her was that what happens if you lose, and this is something I tell folks in my photography class and everyday life, what happens if you lose your iPhone? If it gets stolen, if you forget it, if you lose it, if God forbid, anything happens to it, where is the data on your iPhone? Your photos, your contacts, your apps, all that kind of stuff. Where is it if you lose this little device? A lot of folks have never backed up their iPhone. A lot of folks, if you look at your iPhone, Kim, open your iPhone now. Go to your photos and tell me how many photos you have on your iPhone.
I tend to delete quite a lot. I'm not like a lot of people.
No.
I have 492. That's all.
That's not bad. I've seen people with thousands and thousands of photos on their iPhone. And when you ask them about that, where are those photos from my iPhone? Okay, I take their iPhone. Where are they now? They're in your hand. Okay, but you're not getting this back. Where are they? And they panic. Now, most of the photos are of food and a dog. And
but there's
kind of
probably about 10 on here that I could never duplicate again.
Yeah. That you wouldn't want to lose.
Like when I had 4 dogs, a picture of all 4 of them together. If I lose that, it's gone.
It's one of the reasons why I tell folks, use Flickr. And use the Flickr app to automatically back up all your photos from your iPhone to Flickr. I've got it set up to do that automatically. But if you went to my Flickr site, you wouldn't see those photos. Because I've got it set up so that all the photos that get uploaded to the camera upload section of my Flickr account are set to private. So they're backed up. They're hopefully safe and sound on Flickr. But they're safe from being lost. What you got?
See?
Oh, that's so cute. You got a pug, an Airedale, a Grommy, and what's the white one?
He was a mongrel cross.
A mongrel cross.
Yeah.
Names?
Lola, the pug, Archie, the Airedale, Gromit, and Rocky. See, I could never repeat that picture.
Exactly.
They're gone.
Absolutely, yeah.
Except for Grommy.
Well, Lola.
Oh, yeah, but she's in America. She's in America.
America.
Pew, 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 pug.
Gunfighting pug. Google Photos and Flickr are great free backup solutions. Brian Monroe says he has 1,391 photos. Monty has 946. And that's not the highest I've ever seen. I've seen a lot more from folks, like literally 3,000, 4,000 photos.
On your iPhone?
On their iPhone.
That's crazy.
And not having backups. That's the worst part. It doesn't matter how many photos you have on your iPhone. It doesn't matter. What matters is what happens if you lose that iPhone. So, and Flickr is free. Google Photos is free. Use some service to get them backed up. And we'll talk about how to back them up on your laptop or your desktop computer a little later on in the show. It is the BC Day weekend here in Vancouver, so we have a long weekend coming up. Woohoo! Kim and I are going to the Agri Fair in Abbotsford this coming weekend. We're going to be hanging out with cows and chickens and dogs and horses and stuff at this little...
Moo!
It's like she's a 12-year-old in a Harley T-shirt. And we're doing a volunteer work for this Cone Zone BC. Am I saying that right?
Cone Zone,
Cone
yes.
Zone. And it's a really good program. If you get a chance to do a Google search for Cone Zone BC, see if there's one in your area. And basically what it is getting kids to encourage their parents to slow down in work zones. We already know that you get a double fine. I think almost everywhere I've ever seen. I've seen it in New England. I've seen it in Tennessee, in Pittsburgh, in here in Vancouver. You get double the fine. That's not what's important. What's important is these poor schmucks on the side of the road who are working to make the road better, to mow the grass or to put on more pavement or whatever it might be, are bare-ass naked out there. People are blowing through these work zones at ridiculous speeds. I've had people climb up my ass on the bike. I slowed down to 60 on the highway, and 60 kilometers, it's 40 miles an hour, on the highway where the speed limit's 60 or 65. And these guys will tailgate me on a motorcycle because I've slowed down for the cone zone, for the work zone. Get off my ass, you jerk off. YML now complete with real-life barnyard sound effects. I don't know how real-life they were, Monty. Let's do a test. Horse. Jesus.
See, that was good.
I was actually sitting here last, I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
And I had all the windows open here in the man cave. And it was really kind of cool. I'm a city kid. I've been a city kid my entire life. Never really paid attention to the noises of the city around me. Horns and cars and emergency vehicles and that kind of stuff. But I was just sitting here and I realized I could hear the horses next door winnowing. Bugsy is the mischievous one running around, wanting to be let out. I could hear birds chirping. I could hear crows cawing. I could hear roosters down the street roostering. That's not the right word. What do roosters do? Cackle? No. What do roosters do? Crow. Crow? No. What do roosters do?
Cock-a-doodle-doo. That's what they do.
Okay. So I could hear the guys next door. They were working on some farm equipment. I could hear them talking. It was really kind of neat. It wasn't peaceful, but it was relaxing. Yeah. And I didn't turn on any music that morning. I was just listening to the sound. It was kind of neat. Monty says chickens crow.
Well, no, cockerels do.
What?
Cockerels, roosters as you call them.
You call them cockerels in England?
Cockerel. It's a male chicken is a cockerel. Yes, rooster or hen or cockerel or hen.
All roosters and hens are chickens, right?
Yes.
Hens are female chickens, roosters are male chickens.
Yes.
Okay. All right. The other thing I've always been curious about is, can you get meat from a dairy cow?
I guess.
And can you get dairy from a meat cow?
What?
Well, can you milk a meat cow?
No, because don't they usually use males for meat, for beef?
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, that is what you said, Monty. Yes, I know. Shawn just yep.
Go on.
Okay, don't worry about the cows and the beef.
I just this whole farm life thing fascinates me. Like, you go outside and there's these little mounds of dirt all over the place. They're about this big, and they just pop up out of nowhere. You mow the lawn and it's all flat. Next day you come out and there's a little mound of dirt. Where's that coming from?
Moles.
They push the dirt up and make little tunnels.
Yeah, they're cleaning house, tidying up.
How do you get rid of little bastards?
Expanding. You don't.
Really?
Unless you're really vindictive. You can try and flood them out. Some people blow them out, like with dynamite-y stuff. You can poison them out.
Or you just live with them?
Yeah, I just live with them.
Right. Yeah, the whole thing, the bald eagles flying overhead. And I saw 2 deer yesterday. I was out riding the motorcycle, which is kind of scary, but they were little. All right, what's a baby deer called? A fawn?
Yeah.
A fawn. 2 fawns on the side of the road. I didn't know where Mummy was, but there were 2 fawns on the side of the road just sort of staring at me as I went by on the motorcycle. I actually have a thing set up in my GPS. There's, is it Chilliwack Mountain? Chilliwack Mountain I go
No,
over?
Promontory.
Promontory Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Some really wonderful, twisty, windy roads up there. I love going up there. But I actually, on the GPS, I have it set up. There's a farm. And the only thing on this farm, there's probably 10 acres in the front and a little farmhouse in the back. The only thing I've ever seen in the field of this farm is this big brown llama. And for no apparent reason, I have no idea why I do this. None whatsoever. It doesn't work for any other animal. It doesn't work for goats or horses or cows or anything. When I go past, and there's quite a few llamas around here, which is kind of weird. There's a couple of llamas in various places. For me, when I ride by a llama, I have to do this. Llama! All by myself, in my motorcycle helmet, I'm driving a llama! Yell llama. And I don't know if the llama's getting used to me coming by, but now he just sort of stares at me and goes, what is wrong with you? What is your problem, dude? So, yeah, Monty, I think the llama's named Dolly. I don't know what the llama's
That would be a
names
good
are.
name.
That'd be a stupid name for a llama.
That'd be awesome.
Because it would lack originality.
No.
Like there's a sheep farm down the road called Little Bo Peep. Come on. Come on. My favorite sign around here, I thought it was the real name of the family. Because a lot of the farms around here have names to them. There's a Shaughnessy farm and a Stefania farm, that kind of stuff. And one of the roads we ride on, there's this little tiny sign, and I thought it was an Italian family because it's the farm's name is Almosta. Almosta Farm.
Yeah.
It always cracks me up. And there's corn. Everyone, their dog is selling corn and strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. There's a cornucopia of fruits and vegetables. Everywhere you go, there's these little huts, these little sheds on the side of the road with some, bored, surly 17-year-old in them selling corn. And we bought corn and flowers.
And flowers.
This past
Good
weekend.
deal on the flowers.
Yesterday, I'm driving by, and there was 4 little girls, ages between 6 and 10, on the side of the road at one of the farms selling strawberries. And whenever I see kids on the side of the road, I have to stop. I absolutely have to stop. And whatever they have, I'm buying. It doesn't matter what they are, I'm buying. And the funniest thing was, I don't know if it was because it was a motorcycle, people were like, but the whole family came out to watch me buy my strawberries. There was like 8 people, with mom and dad and grandpa and 3 more older kids and then the 4 little girls. And I had conversations. So, can I buy strawberries? Yes. How much are they? Oh, they're $3 a pound. Okay. Are they good strawberries? Yeah. Can I put them on ice cream? Yeah. They were so cute. But yeah, I remember that when I was a kid and having to, do you do it in England? Did you sell chocolate bars for school?
Nope.
Things that I'm sure.
No. English are not good door-to-door shit.
Yeah. I hated that stuff.
We're not polite, and so you tend not to do it. You don't want people coming to your door, so you don't go to other people's doors either. No. But
everyone in North America knows about, getting that box of chocolate bars that you had to go and sell for a band trip or whatever it might be. And I hated doing that as a kid. Hated it. Because it was that rejection. Whenever some adult said no, I felt like shit. And we had to go door to door. Nowadays, kids just stand outside the liquor store or stand outside the Save-On in the supermarket and sell. No, I don't know if kids even do it door. I don't know if it's safe to do door to door now. I mean, then you just walk off on your own and sold them door to door. But I utterly hated it. I would just sell them to my mom, and my mom would need them all and give me $20. But yeah, so now whenever I see a kid outside of a liquor store or supermarket or on the side of the road selling lemonade or chocolate bars or whatever it might be, I have to stop and buy it because I remember how much I hated that stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about backing up your iPhone. Send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com or to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. If you want to talk about selling stuff door to door, or if you want to talk about, is there a cone zone thing in your area? Or if you talk about Apple Music, I'm going to talk to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com right after this about Apple Music and his experiences with it. All that and much more coming up. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King, joined in our phone, as always, this time on a Wednesday evening by our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing? Yep, hang on. You there, Jim?
Hey.
Wow, the audio is just terrible. Jim?
Yeah?
Are you in the usual place? Because I really can't hear you very well.
Well, what's going on?
I don't know. Make sure my audio on the phone is up. Still there?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I look gorgeous. I should sound okay.
Well, yeah. Well, that just goes without saying. I mean, that's just your natural state is one of immaculate beauty.
Right.
Wow. Jeez, I can't even believe I just filled my boots full of that load of bullshit. Hey, I saw on loopinsight.com today that you have bought a new guitar that cost $4,000.
Yeah, well, you know.
Seriously?
It's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, but it better be able to give you. Never mind, I'm not going to say that. But it's. I didn't realize guitars. This is explain to the audience what kind of guitar it is first of all.
It's a Taylor acoustic.
Now, why you claimed a great love of the Taylor acoustic guitars? Why this particular guitar? Why do you think this is a good guitar? Because to me, with my untrained eye, it looks like a $200 acoustic guitar I see hanging out at Guitar Center.
You know, I actually talked to the people at Taylor and told them some specifics of what I was looking for in a guitar. And, you know, when you start getting into high-end guitars and guitars that there's different voicings on guitar. There's different things that it's going to be able to give you. You know, a big full sound, or what I actually wanted was warmth. I wanted some warmth in the tone because I like to finger pick on the acoustic a lot. So, I wanted it to be able to project sound and resonate, and I wanted it to have some quality sound when I did that, whether I was strumming or finger picking, and it's just incredible. I've been playing it this afternoon, and it's outstanding.
See, now
It really is.
everyone knows you as a metal god, certainly as one who is a giant fan of metal. This doesn't play metal. What are you playing on this?
Well, actually, the first guitar that I got in modern times was an acoustic.
No.
It was a Yamaha FG 420, which I still have. I now have two Taylors. This is my second one from them because they are just the best. I mean, I love Taylor like I love my Les Paul. So if I'm going to play rock and metal and everything, I'll whip out a Les Paul.
No.
And that's how much I love Taylor. It's just, Bob Taylor. He's involved in the business. He's involved in how they make the guitars. And when you go to NAMM, they have wood samples there. You can pick your own woods to put in the guitar, and they'll make it for you. I didn't go that far.
Is some wood better for making a guitar out of than others? Is it like mahogany and teak and ebony and the usual type high-end stuff, or is it more of a mid-range kind of wood?
Yeah, you're going to get different sounds depending on the wood.
Yeah.
So, the fretboard is going to feel different. The sound that you get out of using different combinations of wood, like for the front, the back, and everything, it's all going to sound different. It's going to make the guitar sound different. So that's why I talk to them, because they're the experts. And, here's what I would like a guitar to sound like. And I also, the other Taylor I have has a big body on it. And this one has a very small, well, not a very small body, but a much smaller body.
Yeah.
And I like that because I said in a tweet today that it feels like I'm hugging the guitar when I'm playing it, and I can play very softly, and the sound just rings out. It's wonderful, wonderful sound.
Is it easier to learn to play guitar on an electric or an acoustic?
People have said that an electric is easier because you don't have to press as hard, and your fingers will hurt more on an acoustic. And I suppose that could be true, but if you're going to learn, just pick a decent guitar and learn on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I learned on an acoustic because I think there's so much great music on an acoustic. I mean, this afternoon I was playing some Cat Stevens and Neil Young and Bob Dylan and, stuff like that. I don't want to ignore any music because I'm afraid to play an acoustic.
No.
I would love to learn how to play a classical guitar. And not just, play a nylon guitar, but play actual classical music. It would be incredible, but somehow I don't know that I have the talent for that.
I'm losing your audio again. Sounds like you're speaking to a pillow, as Sherry says. You do anything different?
I did. It turned on speaker.
Don't do that. Don't change once I've started the interview.
No, I didn't do it. It must have hit my beard and turned on the speaker.
Your beard isn't that tough. Did you see the story of the guy in Kentucky who shot down the drone hovering over his backyard?
Good for.
Isn't that the best story of the week? I mean, unfortunately, the guy's going to get charged with some sort of crime. But what would you do now that you live in America? What would you do if someone flew a drone over your backyard?
I'm telling you, I'd be. See, the thing is, the guys who were flying the drone knew exactly where it was.
Sure, of course.
Because they came driving up in the car,
Yep.
asking if he was the guy who shot it down, and then he said, yes, and if you come on my property, there'll be another shooting.
That's the best line of the whole story, isn't it?
Yeah, that was that was just awesome. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
As soon as I saw the headline for the story, I thought, yep, that's going to be down south somewhere. And sure enough, it's a guy in Kentucky. Good for him. The problem is that, you can't just go shooting guns in the air, even if they're just number 8 birdshot, to take these things down. So I get why the police are kind of upset at him. But you got to also be upset at the guys flying a frickin' drones.
Well, it's not that he was flying the drone. The guy was very clear. I'm not some hillbilly that just, started firing bullets off into the sky. The guys flying the drone came down over his back deck and hovered.
Yep.
Filming. Okay. That's out of bounds.
Yep.
If you're flying your drone and it's going zipping by, that may be a pain in the ass. But if you're going to stop in my yard and hover, then there's going to be a problem.
There's definitely going to be a problem. And this is going to be a common problem that's going to continue as long as people use these things irresponsibly. It's common sense that because of the media, if you fly one of these things over someone's backyard and stop, they're going to get pissed off at you. Now, if they happen to have weapons, we're going to see more of these kinds of shootings, especially down south, where they have even more weapons.
And the interesting thing is that here in California, I think it was last week, there was a brush fire that caught cars on fire on the highway.
Yep.
And they couldn't get to the fire with the helicopters because everybody was out flying their drones taking footage over the fire.
Yeah.
And they had to ground the helicopters for about 30 minutes.
Yep.
People, are you morons? I mean, really? They should get people to take a moron test before they're allowed to own a drone.
Yep.
I mean, you don't go flying a drone over a fire when helicopters are trying to get there to rescue people. It's awful. It's awful. And this guy, I've got no problem at all with what he's done. If a drone comes and it's hovering, I mean, what if you had, like a teenage girl or something there, or your wife, or, whatever, even your own privacy. But, and they're coming in with a video camera. No, not going to happen.
And you don't even know for a fact that there was a video camera on this thing, or if there was, that it was recording. But that's not the point, because it's the possibility is there. And therefore, I don't want that thing flying over my house, let alone hovering over my house, for all the reasons that you said. Even if I'm living there by myself and I'm just having a beer in my backyard, fuck off. You don't get to do that. Now, the problem is homeowners don't necessarily own the rights above their home. There's all kinds of different laws when it comes to this stuff. But the average person isn't going to give a rat's ass about that if there's this giant hummingbird hovering over their backyard. They're going to throw rocks at it. They're going to do something to this thing. Shooting it down will be a common issue. It's going to continue as long as drone owners continue to use these things irresponsibly. Like you said, over a fire. That's how selfish are you to believe that you have the right to film this fire? Thereby, now maybe the drone guys didn't know that. Oh, I'm only flying it at 200 feet. The helicopters are flying at 1,000 feet. Not the point. Not the point at all. We have to have stricter regulations on these things and stricter punishments to the assholes.
Well, and it wasn't just one drone. There were multiple drones out there doing it.
There was 5 of them.
Yeah. So that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really. I think if they could have found those people, they should have charged them with something.
Yeah, I agree.
Give them like a $10,000 fine, something that's really going to hurt.
Yep. Let's move on to the Dalrymple port with special guest John Gruber. Now, there was a big stink about this. You talked to Gruber after you talked to Apple and got hopefully most of your music back, but you edited this podcast. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there who are trying to trying to zapruder Jim Dalrymple's reasons for editing this podcast. You explain to me why you edited it, Jim.
Because it felt like it.
It's my fucking podcast. Do whatever I want.
Now, here's what I was thinking on Saturday when the podcast was being edited. I thought we recorded this podcast on Wednesday, about half an hour after I posted the story.
Yep.
And John and I talked, for about a half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour about Apple Music and my issues with it. And on Saturday, when we were going to post, I met with Apple on Friday.
Yeah.
And, found out what was going on with my music. And if what I ended up coming to the conclusion of is that if I post this podcast as is, even though it was recorded when we thought that, all of this stuff was going on, if I post it as is, I'm knowingly publishing something that is incorrect.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. If the podcast had to come out on Friday before I saw Apple, fine. But to knowingly publish something that's wrong, I think is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to publish a story, and I knew the story to be wrong, I wouldn't be able to publish it. Right. So, yes, John recorded the podcast when we thought everything was right.
Yeah.
And that's what there was another hour and a half of podcast that was fine. But there's no conspiracy theory. Apple never asked me to take down a story, to write another story, to edit the podcast. They never asked anything.
No.
That was me. I mean, to me, it was the right thing to do because I knew it to be wrong. Now, I could have put in a preamble to say that this problem has been fixed,
yeah.
But people would have ignored that and just quoted out of the podcast.
Yep.
Without mentioning the fact that there was a preamble there. So I thought, as I explained at the beginning of the podcast, I did put a preamble in and just said, John and I decided that it was best just to remove that section because we know it wasn't right. The information wasn't right that we were talking about. So I don't know.
Other information. This is nothing more unusual than if a New York Times story had said this event happened, and then 2 days later the event changed. They post another story. That's what happened. You took out the false story. Now you didn't give an explanation of that, which is where some people would have liked to have seen. But again, it's your podcast. You can do whatever you want.
Well, here's the situation, though. What if the New York Times wrote a story about something that happened today? They were going to post it on Friday, but on Thursday something happened to change what they had already written.
Yeah.
Would they still post the story?
Yep.
No. Because they know now that, that story is wrong because something else happened in the interim to change it.
Yep.
Now, I understand that people wanted to hear what John and I had to say. And honestly, it wasn't, we weren't screaming and yelling or anything at Apple. It was, John actually said at one point, why aren't you more angry? So it wasn't like that. It was exactly like the rest of the podcast. John and I sitting down, having a chat. That's what it was. And
part of the reason why you're not angry, and correct me if I'm wrong, is because you recognize your part in this, don't you? The fact that part of this is because you screwed up by not having a backup.
Well, I screwed up at not having a backup, but the bigger problem, as I see it, is that there was a miscommunication, misunderstanding about what iTunes Match is now. And, before, I could take my iTunes Match account and I could go into iTunes, log in with my Apple ID, and turn on iTunes Match, and all of my songs, my purchase songs, my uploaded songs, my match songs would all be there.
Yeah.
But with the new version of iTunes, they took all, they only show you purchase songs now in iTunes Match.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they do. So when I turn on what I think is iTunes Match, there's only purchase songs in there, and my songs are gone.
Yeah.
But they're still there, but you need to turn on iCloud Music Library in order to see them. So iCloud Music Library includes Apple Music.
Yeah.
I didn't want Apple Music. I just wanted my music.
Yeah.
But there is no way to get just your music anymore. So, yeah, I mean, there's no conspiracy theory. There's nothing good, bad, or indifferent that happened with Apple other than a much better understanding of what they did with iTunes so that I couldn't see my own music.
Mosquito asks a great question in our chat room. Shawn, what did Jim actually hear from Apple people that non-tech celebrities can also benefit from?
I think the biggest thing is probably what I just explained.
Yep.
The other thing that I learned is that they're aware of the other bugs that I brought up in the story. I mean, you know, to be honest, the bigger part of the story to me was the fact that all of these things were going on with Apple Music that just made it useless.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't add albums, and you know, when you did, and you tried to add songs that were missing, and then it doubled up on songs, and you know, it was just craziness. That you know, they're aware of those, and they're going to fix them. I don't know when, but those are probably the two biggest things that that came out of that meeting.
How much of these issues are on Apple for not explaining this stuff better, but also on the consumer for not learning about this stuff?
Well, you know, for me, I think that I have some responsibility in that first for not having the backup, but second, not even knowing that I didn't need backup. I didn't need it. Well, still missing a couple hundred songs. I'll get those again. You know, all will be stuff. But I think Apple changes one of its services to a point where somebody that's using it for years, like me, doesn't even understand what's going on. I think that's
You said that you were turning off Apple Music and not going back. You were subscribing to Spotify and radio and the other services that you had. Has your mind changed on that? Will you go back to Apple Music now?
I haven't turned it on yet.
Are you waiting to see if Apple fixes these things and whatever updates they're talking about, or are you pretty much done with it?
Well, I mean, see, this is where things get difficult because I do write about it, and music is a big part for me. But I don't want to go back until I feel comfortable.
Yeah,
I guess is the right word.
Yep.
I'm using Spotify right now. I've used Spotify. I mean, it's not like I ditched Apple Music and went to Spotify. I've been a Spotify user for a year.
Yeah.
I've been RDO user for a year. I've paid subscription on them both. Pandora, all of them. I'm a paid user of all of these services. Now, when Apple Music came out, the first couple of days I was using it, I really enjoyed it. I canceled Spotify and RDO, and I kept Pandora just for, that mix of streaming, because I think and I had to go back and re-up on Spotify.
Sorry, Jim, I lost you there. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, sorry. The last little bit dropped out on us. I think part of it is there's responsibility on both sides. Certainly, the user has to know things, but Apple has always portrayed itself, and rightfully so, as it just works. To use the old cliche, Apple Music doesn't just work. It's incumbent on the user to learn far more than what Apple is telling us that they have to learn. They make it seem like, oh, just push this button and everything will be fine. That's not true. And it's a shame, because I still like the idea of Apple Music. Like other folks are saying in the RC chat room, I don't trust Apple's cloud services. So that's why I haven't turned on iCloud Library for music or iTunes Match or anything else along those lines. So I don't have the same kind of issues you do. I still listen to Apple Music every now and then during my day, again, especially because I like the afternoon DJ Juliet Anuga. But there's a lot of work to be done still. And I'm willing to cut Apple some slack from that point of view, that they'll fix the user interface and the user experience stuff eventually. But it's a shame that we have to wait for Apple to fix it, because they're so well known for getting it right the first time. These guys aren't Microsoft. They don't have to wait for 3 versions to get it right. They generally get it right, for the most part, for the first time. But there are so many weird, wonky things and bugs and issues with this first iteration of Apple Music that it's kind of scary, in my opinion.
Well, I think that Apple is going to get it right. I really do. I mean,
eventually.
I know that they take this stuff seriously. So I think that they will get it right. I'm just a bit gun shy, and not because, I'm saying that Apple is totally at fault here. They're not.
No.
I am too. And I accept that, and, but if I'm gun shy, I'm gun shy. I'm just worried about turning it on.
Yep.
I mean, I haven't even turned it on to back up my own files.
Yeah.
Do
you have a backup now?
Yes.
Good. Because I remember we've had this conversation before, but you not having backups, and I've ragged on you before, but you not having backups. Let's move on. Oh, by the way, ArcSign says, ask Jim if he and Gruber said anything different than all the other shows where Jim discussed his music problems. You were on 17 podcasts last week. Do you know that?
No, I wasn't.
I know. I'm kidding. But did you
ask me what? If Gruber and I what?
Ask Jim if he and Gruber said anything different than all the other shows where Jim discussed his music problems. Well, no, you wouldn't, would you?
Gruber and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we still had fun in the part of the podcast that was there. So did I say anything? No. I think I know what you mean. No, there was nothing wild and crazy that we said that I thought, holy shit, I better edit this out. Nothing like that. It was just the whole conversation was wrong. It was based on flawed information at the time it was going to go live.
Yes, gotcha.
So that's all it was. I mean, there's nothing inflammatory in there. There's anything like that. It was just, the mood that we were in when the podcast started and we're talking about remastered music. That's basically how it started for the first 20 minutes too.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing else.
Let's move on. I've been thinking about this now for a while. If you don't mind, and if you don't want to say so, tell me to go pound sand. What do you weigh now, Jim?
As of this morning, 201.1.
201?
Yeah.
I didn't realize you'd lost that much weight. Good for you, because you're about my height. We're both about 6. You're about 6 foot. I'm 6'3", right?
I'm 6'1".
You're 6'1", so 201. So that's damn good, son. That's good for you. The reason why I'm asking was,
Yeah.
you and I are both cavemen, but we're smart enough to know what we need to do to manage our health and to manage our weight. Like a lot of people, you weren't doing those things as much until you got the Apple Watch. Why did that one device change all this for you?
It was just knowledge.
Yeah.
It really was. That's all that it was. It was knowledge, and having the knowledge right there at my fingertips. I mean, you can go out for a walk a day, or watch what you eat, and you don't really notice anything.
No.
I mean, to me, I'm still what have I lost now? Like 46, 40, yeah, about 46 pounds now.
No.
To me, I'm the same. I look the same. I kind of feel the same as I did 46 pounds ago.
Yeah.
It's only when other people see me, when they say, "Holy shit,"
Yeah.
Where'd the rest of you go? Then but I don't. I feel it because I feel better, and I can I can eat without food falling on my tray. My belly tray. I can actually lift weights again.
Yeah.
It's interesting, some of the things that I can do. So, but yeah, information is what did it for me. When you can, even though you may not be able to feel it, when you can see it, when you can see, okay, I've lost 3 pounds. Why? What's going on? And you can look back and say, oh, well, I guess that had an effect, and dropping this had an effect, and everything has an effect. So
how much is it that you said information, but how much is it not information so much as tracking? The fact that the Apple Watch has those little circles that you can fill in, it sort of give you gentle encouragement. And with the health app and with the other apps that you can see, oh, I've walked 2 miles today. I need to walk another half mile in order to close my circle. Does that make a difference? Not so much just straight information. You can stand in the scale every day for a month and not lose weight. But the combination of the tracking and the Apple and the MyFitnessPal app and those kinds of things, is that the key? Because to me, I think that is a big part of it, the tracking ability.
Well, and that's still, to me, that's still just information.
Yeah.
The range, I don't worry about closing the range. If I have a day where I'm really busy and I'm writing, and I don't get to close the range, that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm gonna, weigh more the next day. It just means that day I, didn't burn as many calories as I wanted, or I didn't walk as much as I wanted. I could very well, still lose weight tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff that I'm learning. Well, how could I lose weight if I didn't burn as many calories? But maybe in all this exercising and weightlifting, I'm putting on muscle too.
Yeah.
So like I said in the story, I noticed that my arms are bigger, and that's just because I've never exercised them like that before. They're responding to the exercise and to the weightlifting. And, I don't go crazy on it. I'm certainly not going to be, like an Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but, there's some definition there now that was never there before. And, I can also tell, when I'm doing run-of-the-mill everyday things, lifting stuff, that, you can feel the extra strength too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the reason why I was asking is it's an interesting idea for me that I'm seeing in myself too, that because I can track this stuff, that yesterday was a perfect example. I had my usual breakfast. For whatever reason, I skipped lunch, and then I had dinner. And by looking at the MyFitnessPal app, I went, oh, I still have this many calories left. I can pig out for dessert. Rather than having a small dessert, I can go, no, I can have a decent-sized dessert. Yay, me. I kind of reward myself. And I think that tracking aspect of it is a big help. I know Kim is really frustrated by her tracking. She's been using the MyFitness app too, and she's not losing weight because of it. But the tracking lets her know where the calories are coming from and where the exercise isn't coming from. So tracking, for those folks who haven't tried a tracking app, whether it be MyFitnessPal app or some other app, start using one of those to help you count calories. I think at least I posted that story on the Loop today about the 2,000 calorie meals at Subway and McDonald's and A&W, and that was just freaking terrifying. How you could get, for a guy my size, I'm supposed to have between 2,000 and 2,200 calories a day. You are getting all of that in one average size McDonald's meal. A quarter pounder with fries and a drink was over 2,000 calories. That's the calories for your whole day. Stop eating that shit, folks.
No, it's not that much. If you look at, what it's probably 1,200. A Big Mac is 500. Large fries are 500, and a drink are a few hundred. So, 12, 1,300. But I had, as you can imagine, I had a busy week last week.
Yeah.
So there was one day when I stopped and got a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke.
Yep.
Because I was starving, and I was just running like crazy. But I didn't feel bad about doing that.
Yeah.
I knew. I can tell you right now how many calories in there. I didn't feel bad about it. I was hungry. I needed to eat. I stopped and ate.
Yeah.
So, I think, and that's where the information part comes in. As long as you understand that, okay, well, I'm not going to skip a meal because I had McDonald's for lunch. I'm not going to skip supper. No, I'm going to eat supper too.
Yeah. Yeah. The New York Times, the New York Times story has a McDonald's meal, crispy chicken sandwich with bacon, fries, a Coke, and a McFlurry was over 2,000 calories.
Wow.
A Wendy's Baconator with cheese, a potato with bacon and cheese, a Caesar salad, and Coke was over 2,000 calories. Just amazing how much just empty junk calories are in some of these foods that we take for granted.
Well, and a lot of it is the carbs too.
Yeah.
There's good carbs, bad carbs. I still don't know, exactly the whole difference, but that's something I'm learning now. Good carbs, bad carbs. We need them all. But
yeah, I don't even know what a carb is, and I don't care. I just eat less of them.
It's just a word for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the keys is one of the things I'm learning that's very important in all of this is portion size. Portion size really helps a lot, especially for us here in North America, in Canada, and the U.S., where we tend, especially in America, tend to have these giant plates, and then we physically put a lot of food on those plates. And then because we have this compulsion to eat everything on our plates, we can't leave a plate half full of food. So one of the things you can do, folks, is buy smaller plates. Like literally buy physically smaller dinner plates. And one of the things I've learned is make half your plate some kind of vegetable, whether it be salad or carrots and peas and broccoli and whatever fruit, whatever vegetables you like. If half your plate is vegetables, you can have a steak. You can have, a chicken. You can have pork, all that kind of stuff. If half your plate is full of veggies. So,
yep.
Just work at it, kids. It'll get better. Folks, I've been talking to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. He has his two podcasts, the Dalrymple Report, up on the iTunes Store, along with Amplified over at 5by5.tv. Jim, thanks for joining me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shawn.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
One of the things that we wanted to talk about on the show tonight, let me just get Jim off the phone and get to Kim's mic turned up. There we go. Kim's back. She's back. One of the things I wanted to, do you guys know what this thing called ghostery is? Something I've just started paying attention to. I've always known that this was happening when we surf the internet. A lot of companies, things, organizations do in various ways track what you do on the internet. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. For example, I'll go to a store and I'll do a search for a product. I'm looking for a new camera lens. And so I search on this, in this case, henrys.com, a Canadian online retailer. For a particular, I'm looking for a polarizing filter for my camera. Doesn't matter what that is, but I'm looking for it. So I do a search on Henry's, and I do comparison shopping with Amazon and local stores, all the usual stuff. For the next several days, every website I go to has got a Henry's ad on it. Even though it's not Henry's anymore, it'll be other websites, and the Henry's ads pops up. And that's because the Henry's website is tracking me, and with the assistance of Google and any number of other companies, and therefore is following me around the internet and saying, oh, Henry's. I hate that, as Monty says. I hate that kind of ad tracking. I hate that kind of stuff. Well, there's this Safari add-on called Ghostery that you can check out. Ghostery.com is the website. Ghostery. Ghostery.com. As they say, take control of your digital experience. We believe transparency makes digital awesome. That's why we empower consumers and businesses to create safer, faster, and more trusting digital experiences. From a plug-in point of view, what it does is it puts this little itty-bitty, tiny little ghost in your Safari browser, up here in the corner. And you can see it in the corner, but up here next to the address bar. It says Ghostery. And what it does is it will tell you what tracking services are on any particular website. So, for example, even on the Ghostery website, they've got the Ghostery Privacy Notice, Google Analytics, and Marketo Analytics. Fairly mundane type things. If we go to Your Mac Life site, I've got 3. Discus for comments, DoubleClick for advertising, and Google Analytics to analyze data. But when you go to some websites, look at the number of trackers on Mental Floss. 33 different trackers on Mental Floss. Some of them are just straight up advertising. Some of them are analytics. Some of them I don't have a clue what the hell they do. But there's 33 of them. But one of the great things you can do with Ghostery is you can turn some of them on and off. So I can turn off all this Facebook stuff. I can turn off DoubleClick advertising, Exhalate. I can turn off Google Dynamic Remarks, iTunes Link Maker, LinkedIn Marketing Solution. I can turn all that stuff off. And it says, please reload the page to see your changes. So there was 33 trackers. So I reload the page. Here's the list. And you can see the ones that are struck through are the ones that aren't allowed to be loaded anymore. It still says that they want to track you, but it says that they can't. Now, you can go through this list and block whichever ones that you want. So now it says there's only 29 of these things tracking me. This is mostly for your own personal edification and knowledge. It helps you to keep track of various websites and what they're doing behind the scenes. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. You can use ad blockers. You can use, I don't like ad blockers because as a content provider, if you use an ad blocker, you don't see the Amazon ads on Your Mac Life. So therefore, you might not click on those ads, and therefore, I don't make any money from them. That's the problem with ad blockers. Is, yeah, you want the web to be free, but folks like me who are content providers need a way to make money off those visits. The problem is the vast majority of ads are frickin' annoying. And that's why we use ad blockers. We'll use ad blockers to block autoplay video ads. Macworld.com is probably the most egregious use of it in the Macintosh community. Autoplay video, autoplay audio, banner ads that do things are really frickin' annoying to the vast majority of us. So Ghostery is there just for you to get an idea of what's good. It doesn't cost anything. It's a free service, so install it into your Google, into your Safari browser or your Chrome browser, whatever it might be, just to get an idea of what's going on. Next up, we've got our lovely and talented co-host, Kim, who's got some questions. Kim?
I have a question.
A question.
How do you back this up? And where do you back it up to? And on what? And how often?
Where do you back your computer up to?
I don't know.
Your Windows PC, where did you back that up to?
I didn't.
Your work computer, where do you back that up to?
They do it automatically.
Your MacBook Air you're sitting in front of now, where does that get backed up to?
You deal with it. I have no idea.
So why do you want to know about your iPhone backup?
Just because I probably should know how to plug it in and do something with it that keeps what's on it safe. Or retrievable.
Retrievable is as important as just backing it up. One of the problems is that on a computer, like most of us are looking at right now, you have several different ways of backing things up. You can back up to external hard drives like this. You can back up to internal partitions like I have on some of my machines. You can back up to a time machine backup. You can back up to the cloud. You can use a service like CrashPlan or Backblaze or any number of places to back that stuff up.
But what do? Do you plug it in?
I was getting there.
Okay. I need the basics, people.
I was getting there.
Okay.
So, but you can't do that kind of stuff with the iPhone. You can't plug your iPhone into an external hard drive.
Oh.
You can't back your iPhone up to Backblaze without a computer. But it's actually easy to back up with the iPhone. It's literally as simple as plugging it in.
To my laptop?
To your laptop.
Okay.
To your MacBook Air. I mean, you could do that right now. You can grab that the lightning cable. You plug it in, and you use iTunes to do the backup. And you set it up. Most of the time, you set it up so that iTunes backs it up automatically. As soon as you plug it in, it'll do it.
And
iTunes,
it saves it where? Where does
it saves it on your computer.
Oh, okay.
Which is a bad thing.
On iTunes or on the computer as a separate file?
On the computer as a separate database.
Okay.
But that may not be a good thing either, because what happens if your computer gets corrupted? Well, hopefully your iPhone's still okay.
Okay.
The problem is if both those things get corrupted, then you're really screwed. But the odds are against both them happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
How often you do that is entirely up to you. I back my stuff up every day. Every day I plug in my iPhone just because it's convenient for me. I'm sitting here at the computer, so I do the backup automatically just because I'm sitting here. You can tell iTunes what to back up to, where to back it up to. You can back up to iCloud too, so you can back up to the cloud. And the advantage of that, and I've actually done this, is when I went in to buy a new, because I was using iCloud backup, when I went in to buy a new phone, the sales guy said, not sales guy, that's the wrong way to refer to Apple employees. The Apple employee said, if you have an iCloud backup, we can restore your phone right here. I was like, oh yeah. So we plugged in my phone to a machine at Apple, at the Apple store. I signed on to iCloud and backed up, took the data off the iCloud, put it on my phone, had my phone with all my contents, all my photos, all my stuff right there, which is kind of cool. Backup's easy to do. It's generally pretty fast. Takes 10, 15 minutes maybe. It's a one-button push. Once you have iTunes set up, you either tell it to back up or sync, and it will do it automatically, or it'll do it whenever you plug in directly. MacMan says my iPhone gets backed up probably every 2 to 3 days. Depends on how often I need to charge it. That's when a lot of folks do their backups, when they plug in their iPhone to charge it, when they plug it into their laptop to charge it. There's no real downside to backing it up. It's, if you're in a hurry, you can't do it fast. Like I said, it takes 10, 15 minutes. But if you do it once every 2, 3 days, you're fine. You'll be okay. The only thing that'll happen is if you lose data in those 2 or 3 days, then you'll never get that back.
But if I back up what's on here now,
Yes.
it's only anything new or different that happens between now and the next time I back it up that would be lost if I lost it.
That's correct.
So those old photos, which are my main concern, are the ones I don't have to back it up again for ages.
And the thing is, the phone won't re-back up things that's already backed up. It does what's called incremental backups.
Right.
So once it's done one complete backup, it'll only back up the new stuff next time around. So it becomes much faster next time around. So yeah, like I said, it's easy to do. Something you should do.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, basically, if you have anything important on your phone,
mm-hmm. Okay,
whether that's photos, data, contacts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If it's important to you, you should have it backed up.
Okay.
And like I said, it is easy to do. So it's something that when you come home from work, just walk in here, and plug your phone in. It'll charge
with the same USB.
Same cable, same USB Lightning cable. It'll charge at the same time. So while you're getting change or making dinner, whatever it is, it's sitting here and backing things up.
Making dinner.
Yeah, sorry, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah,
I make dinner around here. Had a lovely Italian sausage thing yesterday.
It was very good.
It was very good. Oh, and the chocolate mousse. Oh.
Yes.
It wasn't moussey enough, but dear God, it was chocolatey. It was so chocolatey. Folks, send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. If you have anything you want us to talk about or mention or think about, we can send emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com or Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com. Our friend Jason Painter down there in Sydney, Australia. Photos app. Shawn, I hear what you say about Photos app and being wary about using it. I'm using Lightroom, and I trust it because Adobe is constantly working on it. It's a live product. I do use Photos in order to get my photos into the Apple ecosystem for sharing and syncing to iPad and the Apple TV. If the library were destroyed, I would be okay because I use it as an output location, not primary storage. He says, with regards to Apple Music, I turned on iCloud Library on my Mac and turned it off when I heard about Jim's issues. I have a very big library, but no issues noticed so far. I think the key in Jim's situation that he used iTunes Match, which I have never done. Yeah, neither have I, Jason. I never bothered with iTunes Match because I didn't want to spend $25 a year for Apple to cloud sync my songs. It just annoyed the hell out of me. The thing that interests me most about Apple Music is Beats One. I'm hoping to discover new music. Has there ever been a worldwide community based on the same stream being played at the same time globally? I don't think so. I've never heard of it, if there was. I'm pretty much set in my musical tastes and have a very large library I cycle through. Exposing patterns in that music to get good listening experiences is hard. I want to till the soil and get the most out of what I have. The potential integration between my music and the smarts of the service alone could be enough to make me subscribe. It irritates me that Taylor Swift is worshipped as the agent of change in the payment controversy. I agree with you that Apple was considering it anyway. I think with all its problems, that to me is the most fun part of Apple Music, is the discovery aspect of it, is for me the for you part. Because when you signed up to Apple Music, you told Apple the kind of music and bands that you liked and the artists that you liked. You folks who are watching the video can see just how slow my internet connectivity is. So it knows that I like the White Stripes. So it shows me other bands that it thinks might be similar to the White Stripes. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Megadeth, but Megadeth is listed as one of the playlists I can play. Jack White, again, I'm a huge fan of the White Stripes, so it shows me other bands and artists that might be similar to Jack White. Sonic Youth, Blood Vision, Night Swimming, Come Away With Me, The Killers, another one of my favorite bands, Radiohead, Conway West Penthouse Mix. By the way, Apple, I'm never listening to this, okay? Just because it's Kanye West. But it knows that I'm a big fan of Florence and the Machine. I was listening to this album this afternoon. I like what Jason said about tilling the soil. I think that's a great way of putting it. Of Apple looks at the music you already have and says, hey, you might like this stuff too. It's not always right, but I'm listening to different music. I've never listened to Sloan. I know the band. I've heard of them. I've never listened to them. But now because Apple is suggesting it, because it might be similar to something else I like, I'll listen to Sloan. And again, I might not like it, but at least I'm listening to new stuff. And one of the reasons why I really like Apple Music, and it's why it's so frustrating that the user interface is so inconsistent, so weird, not only in and of itself, but between the iPhone and the laptop. It's just, it gets really frustrating. It's like, okay, I'm on my Mac now. In order to save something, I have to do this and this. But when I'm on my iPhone, I have to do this, this, and this. No, it's just annoying. Stop doing that. Scott Thrift, also from Sydney, Australia. Scott, have you and Jason Painter ever met? You guys should get together and have a beer on my behalf. Shawn just started listening to last week's show. Can't help it. Regarding Jim Dalrymple losing music, referring to my email you read out last show. I told you so. Cheers, mate, says Scott. Our friend Thomas Bolskifty. I think Thomas is in, I want to say the Netherlands. I'm not sure, Thomas, but you'll correct me. Last show you were discussing in yours and mine opinion, the absolute need for backup, and especially large data sets, like tens or hundreds of gigabytes of music or multi-terabytes of photos. You also touched on the subject of backups, or to be more precise, multiple backup sets spread over multiple platforms. Kim mentioned it when we were talking about her doing the iPhone backup. Having a backup is only half the issue. Being able to restore from that backup is the rest of it. Having a backup is useless if that backup cannot be restored because it's been corrupted, or because it's too physically too far away, or electronically too hard to get to. Adam Angst at Tidbits is a big proponent of the idea of once a month checking your backups, downloading one file or two files or three files to make sure that your backup isn't corrupted, and having multiple backups. He said, I used to manage backups for a large company on DLT tapes. He did daily backups, rotated them, did all the right stuff he's supposed to do with the backups. Had a master backup. Now he uses Synology's built-in Amazon Glacier backup client. Glacier's dirt cheap at 1 cent per gigabyte. That means, Thomas is in Denmark. That means with my 500 megabit, we have awesome internet in Denmark, fiber line, I can back up my stuff 6 terabytes for a few bucks overnight. The downside is it's not meant to pull a few files back from the database. It'll cost you more money, more than a few pennies per gigabyte. But it's not by any means expensive to restore a file or folder if you need it. And restoring the entire thing is dirt cheap compared to everything else. He's got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Anyway, Shawn, I thought this might help some people with lots of photos or video data on a NAS. Glacier has unofficial clients for many NASes, Unix, Linux, and so on. I think there might even be a Macintosh client. Interestingly, all those thousands of NEF images from the last 10 years are amazing when you hear what took them. They were all shot with my trusted and remarkably still able D70, the 24 120 millimeter lens. This insanely expensive for me lens is to die for, and it's the only thing keeping this camera current, but it does it so well. One of the things that I tell the classes that we're talking to, people are saying, what's the best camera? Well, there's no such thing as the best camera, but there is the best lens for the kind of shooting you do. His D70 is, I want to say, 4 years old, 5 years old, maybe even older. Especially with DSLRs, the camera body will last you a long time. The technology will move forward. You'll get more megapixels and better noise reduction, things like that. But it's the lens that you'll change more often than the camera body. My D600 is probably going to be good for me for at least 5 more years. I'll change lenses. I have my eye on 2 or 3 other lenses, but the body itself is going to be good. So that's what a lot of folks say. Buy the best camera body you can buy with the assumption that you'll keep it for 5 to 10 years. My D50 from 10 years ago is still a perfectly good little DSLR. If Kim wanted to get into shooting DSLR, I'd be more than happy to give her the D50, and she'd love it. It's small enough to fit her hands. It does all the things creatively that you want. Its performance envelope is a little more narrow than a brand new camera, but it uses the same lenses I would use on my D600. So keep that in mind. If you have a good older DSLR, you don't need to buy a brand new DSLR to take good pictures. Learn how to use the camera you have before you start thinking about more body of a camera. Our friend Richard Gerard says, so T-Mobile, who I've switched to and love their stick-it-to-the-big-guy CEO John Legere, who's Canadian, by the way, have announced that their simple plans include Canada and Mexico as part of the basic USA plans. Maybe you can switch from Rogers, as I hear they are killer expensive. Have your bill sent to Sly or just go full online payments. I don't think T-Mobile allows that because people have been trying this before. And one of the issues is if the cell phone company sees that all your roaming is done outside of the network area, they can cut you off. So T-Mobile, if I signed up with them, would see that even though the roaming is cheap, I'm never in my network area. Say Richard, you set up a plan for me and you live in New York. I live here in Vancouver. I'm never in New York. And T-Mobile could see that my plan is never in range, in the network coverage of T-Mobile in New York. So those plans don't work, unfortunately. I think that's it. You have anything else?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Nothing you want to talk about? Nothing said in the chat room?
Nope.
Nothing? Folks, it's going to get hot here in Vancouver. MacMan says, might go with a refurb D7100 for $650. Don't forget to check. Don't forget to check on how many shutter clicks that have, because all cameras, all the things, have a limited mechanical life on them. So if that refurb D7100 had been used tens of thousands of times, you may only have 2 or 3 clicks left in it. So there's an app online that you can, MacMan, it's a Nikon refurb, then you're okay. Nikon will have refurbed that to almost good as new. I like refurb stuff, so it's not just buying it used from some guy on Craigslist, so that's good. It's getting stupid hot here in Vancouver. 33 degrees this weekend. So what are Kim and I going to do? Go stand on tarmac all weekend. That's stupid. One of us will get heat stroke. Possibly her, because I'm going to be walking around taking pictures, so I'll be indoors. No, I won't. It's all outdoors, isn't it? Shit. I'll be wearing a hat. Protect my head. That's it for tonight's show, folks. I want to say thank you guys very much for joining us. As always, I want to say thanks to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com for joining us here on the show. And I'm glad to see that Jim got most of his issues resolved. Until next week, as always, I've been Shawn King.
And I'm always Kim Guy.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!